Have you ever felt like someone you care about is keeping you at arm's length? No matter how much you try to get close, you pour your heart out, you show your love, you make space for them, but there's this wall, a barrier that feels impenetrable. And yet, sometimes, just sometimes, that same person will do something unexpected, something so rare, so genuine, that it shakes you to the core. That's what this video is about. We're diving into the hidden world of avoidant love, the things they rarely, if ever, do, unless they truly deeply care. And I promise, by the end of this, you'll understand the subtle but undeniable signs that mean everything you've been hoping for isn't a fantasy. Avoidants have a reputation for distance. They pull away when things feel too close. They retreat when emotions spike. And they are masters at creating space, not to hurt you, but to protect themselves. For most people, this feels cold, frustrating, confusing. You want closeness, they want distance, and it's easy to feel invisible, like your love is always chasing a shadow. But here's the thing, avoidance is not the absence of love, it's fear. Fear of being overwhelmed, fear of losing themselves, fear of being vulnerable. When an avoidant loves, they don't always show it the way you expect, but they reveal it in the smallest, quietest, most powerful ways. And recognizing those signs can be life-changing. The first thing to understand is that avoidants almost never change their routines for someone. They like their space, their independence, and their control over their time. If they start rearranging their life to make room for you, it's no small gesture. If they initiate plans, prioritize you even when it's inconvenient, or adjust their habits because they care what you feel, that's a massive indicator. This isn't casual affection. This isn't surface-level interest. This is love that pushes against their instinct to pull away. Imagine someone who values solitude more than almost anything suddenly breaking their own rules just to be near you. That's powerful. That's intentional. That's love. Next, consider communication. Avoidants are not naturally expressive. They don't usually pour out their feelings. They don't send long texts about what's in their heart, and they tend to keep things light or surface level. So when an avoidant starts opening up, sharing thoughts and emotions they normally keep private, it's a signal you should never ignore. It doesn't have to be a grand declaration. It can be as subtle as a vulnerable admission, a moment of honesty, or a consistent effort to check in when they wouldn't normally. Each message, each confession, each small reveal is like a key turning in a lock. They are giving you access to a part of themselves that is usually hidden, and that level of trust is sacred. One of the most overlooked signs is consistency. Avoidants are notorious for keeping people at a distance by being unpredictable, showing up sometimes, retreating other times, keeping emotions just out of reach. When they begin to show up consistently, without being asked, without an ulterior motive, it's monumental. It's not easy for them to maintain this rhythm because it goes against their natural tendencies. When an avoidant demonstrates reliability, returning messages promptly, making plans they actually follow through on, being present in moments where they could disappear, that's love, speaking louder than words ever could. The effort itself is evidence. It's their way of saying, you matter more than my comfort zone. Physical and emotional closeness are next. Avoidants struggle with intimacy, especially prolonged or intense intimacy. If they allow themselves to sit close, hold hands without pulling away, lean into your presence, or even initiate affection, it's a clear marker of love. Every touch, every lingering glance, every small gesture of closeness is a silent rebellion against the fear that usually governs them. They're risking discomfort, vulnerability, and sometimes even panic just to connect, and when they do this regularly, it's not a fleeting moment. It's a deliberate choice to prioritize emotional connection over self-preservation. Now, it's not just about what they do, but also about what they don't do. Avoidants rarely compromise on their personal boundaries, but love has a way of softening those walls. If they start tolerating things they usually wouldn't, your quirks, your routines, your needs, it's a subtle yet powerful sign of commitment. They may still need space, and they will still retreat sometimes, but the fact that they bend without resentment, that they allow their world to accommodate yours, speaks volumes. It's the quiet, behind-the-scenes proof that they're invested, even if it doesn't look like the love you see in movies or read about online. And here's the twist. Most people don't expect. Avoidants don't always express love verbally. They show it through actions, through small sacrifices, through moments that feel almost invisible to the untrained eye. Picking up on these signs requires patience, attention, and emotional intelligence. It might be them sending a seemingly ordinary message because they know it will make your day, or remembering a small detail you mentioned months ago, or quietly defending you when others doubt you. Each of these moments is a thread, weaving a tapestry of love that's quiet, steady, and enduring. Another critical aspect is the rare but unmistakable effort to resolve conflicts. Avoidants often shut down or withdraw when disagreements arise, avoiding confrontation to keep the emotional distance they crave. But if they start to engage in difficult conversations, listen to your perspective without retreating, or apologize sincerely even when it challenges their pride, it's a profound indicator of love. They're stepping into discomfort because maintaining the bond with you matters more than protecting themselves from emotional exposure. That's a level of care that's deliberate and deep. And let's talk about vulnerability one more time. Avoidants protect themselves fiercely, and yet love has a way of gently dismantling those defenses. If they share fears, insecurities, or personal histories with you, details they've hidden from everyone else, it's not just trust, it's love. It's their way of saying, I'm allowing you inside the parts of me no one else can see. And that's sacred, that's rare, that's not something they do lightly. When you witness these moments, cherish them because they are evidence that your connection has moved beyond surface level interest into something transformative. Finally, the culmination of these signs, actions over words, consistency, emotional investment, vulnerability, and intentional closeness, paints a clear picture. When an avoidant starts doing these things, it's a threshold that few ever reach. It's a rare blend of courage, trust, and desire to connect. And if you notice these patterns, you can be confident that the love is real, even if it doesn't look like the dramatic gestures you've imagined. Avoidant love is subtle, patient, and enduring. It may not always be loud, but it's one of the most authentic forms of love there is. So, if you're wondering whether the avoidant in your life truly loves you, pay attention to these quiet signals. Look for the effort to break patterns, the moments of vulnerability, the intentional presence, and the small sacrifices they make without complaint. Avoidants never do these things lightly, and when they do, it's because their heart is fully invested, even if their words are not. Love, in their world, is less about declarations and more about these powerful, persistent, and meaningful actions. By recognizing these signs, you can move beyond doubt and fear, seeing the love that exists even behind walls of independence and self-protection. Avoidant love is not always easy to read, but once you understand it, it becomes impossible to ignore. And when it's truly present, it's a love that endures, grows, and transforms both people involved in ways subtle, profound, and unforgettable. Even when an avoidant loves, it isn't always obvious on the surface. Their love is like a quiet current beneath the waves, always there, but not always visible. They don't rush to declare it, they don't perform for applause, and they rarely make grandiose statements. Instead, their love reveals itself through subtle, consistent, and sometimes almost imperceptible actions. It's easy to miss these moments if you're expecting fireworks or constant reassurance. But those who learn to read between the lines find a love that is steadfast, loyal, and deeply meaningful. One of the clearest signs that an avoidant truly loves you is when they begin to prioritize you without being asked. Avoidants naturally prioritize themselves and their routines. Their world is often meticulously structured around comfort and predictability, but when you notice them adjusting their day, their plans, or their energy to accommodate you, it's monumental. It could be as simple as rearranging their schedule to spend a few extra hours with you, or making an effort to attend something important to you despite inconvenience. Every time they make these adjustments, they are silently telling you, you are worth stepping outside my comfort zone, and that is not something they do lightly. Next, watch how they handle your needs, even the emotional ones. Avoidants tend to avoid emotional demands. They pull back when feelings get intense. They may deflect or minimize, and they often keep distance when emotions run high. But when they start listening patiently, offering support, or staying present during your vulnerable moments, it's a profound sign of love. They might not verbalize their care in the way you expect, but by staying, by showing up emotionally, they communicate a devotion that words alone could never capture. This is the type of love that is tested in quiet moments, not dramatic displays. Trust is another layer where avoidant love becomes visible. Avoidants often struggle to trust fully. They fear dependency, fear vulnerability, fear losing themselves. But when they open up about their own insecurities, share personal fears, or allow themselves to be seen in a raw and honest way, it's a clear signal that they trust you in a way they rarely trust anyone. Trust is not casual for an avoidant. It's earned, it's guarded, and it's deliberate. When they extend it to you, they're making a profound statement about their feelings. They are letting you in, fully and intentionally. Intimacy, both emotional and physical, is another area where their love becomes tangible. Avoidants are cautious with closeness. They instinctively keep distance to protect themselves. Yet, when they allow you into their space, when they initiate or accept affection without retreating, it's monumental. Every touch, every glance, every shared silence is an act of defiance against their instinct to pull away. It's a choice, a repeated choice, to remain connected with you despite their internal fear. And that choice, made consistently, is one of the clearest indicators that the love is real and unwavering. Conflict is often where avoidants show their love in unexpected ways. Normally, disagreements can trigger withdrawal, silence, or emotional retreat. But when an avoidant begins to face conflicts head-on, to engage without shutting down, to seek resolution even when it's uncomfortable, it's a demonstration of commitment. They are stepping into emotional discomfort because preserving and nurturing the relationship is more important than avoiding their own discomfort. Every effort to reconcile, to communicate, to bridge distance is proof of a love that goes beyond convenience. It's deliberate, considered, and deeply meaningful. Another subtle but powerful signal is the way they remember small details about you. Avoidants can be selective in their attentiveness, often focusing on their own routines and priorities. But when they recall little things you've shared, your favorite song, a random anecdote, an offhand comment from months ago, it's their love speaking. These aren't just memories, they're evidence of attention, care, and investment. It shows that your presence in their life is not just noticed, it's meaningful, and they are willing to carry pieces of you with them, even when life gets busy. Vulnerability continues to be a theme. Avoidants often mask insecurities behind humor, distraction, or independence, but love encourages them to be real with you, to drop the masks, to share what they usually hide. They might reveal fears about the future, regrets from the past, or internal conflicts they've never discussed. When they do, they're not seeking validation. They're offering connection. They're allowing themselves to be fragile in front of you, which is no small feat. For an avoidant, vulnerability is a gift, and giving it freely is a signal that their heart is fully engaged. Another sign to observe is their willingness to compromise. Avoidants highly value autonomy and personal freedom, yet love has a way of shifting priorities. If they start to negotiate, to adjust, to make concessions for your comfort or happiness, without resentment, it's evidence of real care. Compromise doesn't come easily for them. It requires self-awareness, courage, and intention. And when they make these small sacrifices, it's more meaningful than words could ever capture, because it represents an intentional choice to balance their needs with yours. Furthermore, avoidants often reveal love through protection and advocacy. They may not express it openly with verbal affirmations, but they will quietly defend you, support you when it matters, and stand by you even when it's inconvenient or challenging. These acts are deliberate, conscious, and often unseen by others, but they signal a deep, enduring commitment. It's their way of saying, I have your back, even when I might otherwise step away. That's love in action, quiet, consistent, and unwavering. What's important to remember is that avoidant love is often more about depth than frequency. They may not bombard you with texts, calls, or declarations, but the moments they choose to engage are weighted with meaning. Every gesture, every effort, every vulnerability carries more significance because it is deliberate. Their love isn't performative, it's intentional, reserved for those who have earned it. Recognizing this requires patience, sensitivity, and an understanding that love doesn't always look the way we expect it to. Even in silence, their presence can be telling. Avoidants can communicate love without saying a word, sitting together comfortably, sharing space without distractions, or being present in ways that show attention and care. These are powerful signals. It's a love that doesn't need constant verbal reinforcement because it's rooted in action, in reliability, and in the subtle ways they choose to remain close. Silence, when paired with these actions, becomes a language of love all its own. And then there's the patience they exhibit. Avoidants often fear the intensity of emotional escalation, but when they stay with you through difficult times, when they allow the relationship to evolve at its own pace without withdrawing, it's a profound act of love. Patience demonstrates their willingness to navigate discomfort, to tolerate uncertainty, and to invest in a bond that might not always be easy. It is quiet, steadfast, and transformative, an enduring signal that their heart is fully invested. Finally, the culmination of these signs, the subtle gestures, the vulnerability, the consistency, the compromises, and the patient presence creates a tapestry of love that's quiet but undeniable. Avoidant love is not loud or performative. It's deep, deliberate, and often hidden beneath layers of self-protection. If you pay attention, you can see it in the way they prioritize you, protect you, engage in conflict, and allow themselves to be vulnerable. This love is rare, precious, and worth recognizing, honoring, and reciprocating. So, if you've ever doubted the love of an avoidant in your life, look for these moments. Notice the small gestures, the sacrifices, the patience, and the vulnerability. Avoidants never do these things lightly. When they do, it's a sign of genuine love. Love that persists, even when words are scarce. Love that chooses presence over retreat. Love that is intentional, consistent, and enduring. And once you recognize it, you begin to see their heart in a way few ever get to. A love that is quietly transformative, profoundly real, and unforgettable. Even after all these subtle signs, it's easy to misread an avoidance love. Their behavior can seem contradictory. They may pull away one moment and come close the next, leaving you feeling uncertain. But that uncertainty doesn't mean the love isn't real. In fact, this push and pull dynamic is often a hallmark of avoidant attachment. The key is to look deeper than surface behavior and focus on intent. When an avoidant consistently chooses connection, even in small ways, even when it's uncomfortable, that choice is a powerful declaration of love. One of the most overlooked indicators is the way they protect your emotional space. Avoidants may not always express affection in the conventional sense, but they often show love by preventing harm from reaching you. They notice when others might hurt you, when situations could trigger your insecurities, and they quietly step in to shield you. This protective behavior is not about control or dominance. It's about care. They're telling you through action, I see you, I value you, and I want to preserve your peace. When an avoidant does this, it's love expressed in one of its purest, least noisy forms. Consistency remains a cornerstone of their affection. Avoidants are naturally unpredictable, and emotional availability can be a challenge. But when they start maintaining patterns, checking in regularly, following through on promises, showing up even when it's inconvenient, they are signaling love in the most practical way possible. It's not a dramatic gesture, it's an everyday choice that demonstrates reliability, effort, and investment. And in the world of avoidance, consistent effort is louder than any words could ever be. Another powerful marker is shared vulnerability. Avoidants tend to mask emotions, fearing judgment or rejection. Yet, when they share deeply personal experiences or internal struggles, it's evidence of trust and connection. They are inviting you into a part of their life they usually guard fiercely. Every confession, every admission, every moment of honesty is a thread of intimacy being woven carefully. It's love expressed not through declarations, but through the courage to show the parts of themselves that no one else sees. The way they navigate your needs is another subtle telling sign. Avoidants value independence, but love motivates them to notice and accommodate your desires. They may listen attentively to what matters to you, remember preferences, or adjust behavior to make your life easier. These acts may seem minor, but for someone who naturally resists change or compromise, they are profound demonstrations of care. Each effort is an unspoken message. Your happiness matters, even when it requires effort from me. Emotional presence is critical. Avoidants may retreat under stress or intensity, but when they learn to stay with you in emotional moments, it's love in action. They may not solve the problem, they may not offer a perfect response, but they remain available, grounded, and attentive. Their presence, steady and unflinching, reassures you that they are willing to face discomfort for the sake of connection. This is love beyond convenience. It's deliberate, intentional, and patient. Physical affection is also telling. Avoidants often hesitate with closeness. It can trigger vulnerability and fear, but when they initiate a touch, lean in during a conversation, or linger in shared spaces, it's a declaration of trust and comfort. Every gesture communicates, I feel safe enough with you to let my walls down. These moments might be fleeting, subtle, or understated, but they are profound indicators that their love is real and their heart is invested in the connection. The way they respond to your fears or insecurities is illuminating. Avoidants may instinctively pull back when emotions escalate, yet when they respond with patience, reassurance, or understanding, it's love revealing itself. They are choosing connection over self-preservation, choosing empathy over avoidance. Each time they face your emotional intensity without retreating, they are proving the depth of their care and signaling that your emotional well-being matters to them. Sacrifice is another dimension. Avoidants don't easily surrender comfort or convenience, yet love encourages them to do so for you. They might compromise on their routines, make personal sacrifices to accommodate your needs, or step into situations they'd usually avoid, all because your happiness and the relationship's health are important. These sacrifices may go unnoticed by others, but they are deeply meaningful gestures that demonstrate a deliberate prioritization of love over self-interest. Observing their interactions with others also provides insight. Avoidants often maintain distance in social or professional settings to protect themselves. When they start introducing you to important parts of their life, advocating for you in subtle ways, or integrating you into their world, it's evidence of deep commitment. They are expanding their inner circle to include you, which is not casual, it's intentional, thoughtful, and meaningful. Then there's the matter of effort without expectation. Avoidants rarely go out of their way for people unless they care. When they invest energy into gestures, conversations, or shared experiences without seeking immediate reward or validation, it's love manifesting in action. This effort is quiet, yet unmistakable. It signals that your presence, your happiness, and your connection are valuable enough to warrant consistent attention. Another sign is patience with distance. Avoidants sometimes pull back, not because they love less, but because they are processing internally. If they return, re-engage, or reconnect after space, it's a deliberate choice that reflects their love. They could have retreated entirely, but instead, they come back, showing that their heart remains invested, even when behavior seems contradictory. Love in this context is measured not just by presence, but by the conscious decision to re-engage. They also demonstrate care through support of your autonomy. Avoidants value independence and often respect yours, but when they actively encourage your growth, celebrate your achievements, and support your ambitions, it reflects love rooted in respect. They aren't trying to control or manipulate. They are genuinely invested in your success, knowing that your fulfillment strengthens the connection. This is love that uplifts rather than confines. Time and attention are further evidence. Avoidants may guard their time fiercely, yet when they deliberately make space for you, it shows that you matter more than their personal comfort. They choose to prioritize moments together, sometimes at the expense of their routines or solitude. This is a love that doesn't announce itself with words, but asserts itself through presence and attention. They often express love through small, intentional gestures, sending a message just to check in, remembering your favorite foods, picking up something you mentioned casually weeks ago. These actions may appear minor, but for an avoidant, they are deliberate. Every small gesture is a sign of attentiveness, care, and intentional investment in the relationship. These tiny acts, repeated consistently, form a pattern that communicates love more reliably than words ever could. The way they apologize is telling. Avoidants can struggle with admitting mistakes because it requires vulnerability, but when they apologize sincerely, without defensiveness, it's a sign of love and respect. They are choosing the health of the relationship over ego, demonstrating a willingness to be accountable and repair breaches of trust. Such actions are rare and significant, highlighting their commitment to connection. Even their humor can be a sign. Avoidants sometimes use humor to mask discomfort, but when they use it to create shared joy, lighten your mood, or make you feel seen, it's an expression of affection. Humor becomes a bridge, a way to connect without overwhelming emotion, signaling comfort, care, and engagement. Attention to boundaries is another subtle but powerful indicator. Avoidants often have strong personal boundaries, yet when they respect yours fully, adapt where necessary, and navigate your needs sensitively, it signals love grounded in respect. They are showing that your comfort, feelings, and autonomy are as important as their own, a profound act of intentional care. Finally, they demonstrate love through long-term investment. Avoidants often think in terms of self-preservation, but when they make plans that include you in the future, discuss shared goals, or consider life together, it's an unmistakable sign of love. They are envisioning a shared path, not because they feel obligated, but because they genuinely want you to be part of it. This is a love that transcends immediate comfort, rooted in intention, foresight, and commitment. And so all these moments, gestures, choices, and efforts converge into a pattern. Avoidants rarely give love recklessly, but when they do, it is deliberate, consistent, and deeply meaningful. Their actions may be subtle, sometimes hard to read, but they are grounded in intentionality and care. When you recognize these signs, you begin to understand the depth of their heart, a love that is rare, transformative, and quietly enduring. Even when you've learned to recognize the subtle signs, avoidance can still seem mysterious. Their love isn't flashy, it's not immediate, and it doesn't always look like the love you've been told to expect. But here's the truth. Their love is enduring because it is intentional. Every action, every effort, every moment of connection is carefully weighed. And when they truly love, they're willing to break patterns, challenge fears, and lean into discomfort just for you. This is love that is quiet but unwavering, subtle but transformative. One of the most profound indicators is the way they communicate during vulnerability. Avoidants are often uncomfortable with raw emotional expression, so when they start sharing their feelings openly, it's monumental. They might describe fears, regrets, or uncertainties, but the very act of sharing signals trust and attachment. They are saying without words, I trust you with the parts of me that I usually protect fiercely. And that level of openness doesn't happen casually. It happens when love has moved beyond the surface and penetrated the barriers they've built over years. Another sign is their willingness to be inconvenienced for you. Avoidants value autonomy and predictability, yet love compels them to step outside their comfort zones. They may alter routines, sacrifice personal time, or face situations they'd usually avoid, all in the name of keeping the bond alive. These are quiet gestures, often unspoken, but they carry immense weight. Every choice to inconvenience themselves is a testament to the value they place on you and the relationship, proof that their love is not theoretical, it's active, deliberate, and enduring. Attention to your emotional rhythms is also telling. Avoidants can struggle with empathy when emotions get intense, but when they begin to notice your highs and lows, adjusting their responses to support you, it's a remarkable sign. They may not always respond perfectly, and they may still need space at times, but the fact that they are attuned at all is evidence of care. They are learning to navigate your world, balancing their instinct for distance with the desire to be present for you. That balance, when sustained, is love in its most patient and thoughtful form. Intimacy through small acts is another hallmark. Avoidants often avoid prolonged closeness because it triggers vulnerability, yet they find ways to connect quietly, leaving a note, sending a message that shows attention, or doing small favors without expectation. These moments are laden with meaning. Each act is a deliberate choice to affirm connection without overwhelming either party. Love in this sense is not about grand gestures, it's about consistency, thoughtfulness, and intentional presence. The way they respond to adversity together is a major indicator. Avoidants often struggle in high-stress emotional situations, preferring withdrawal or solitude. But when they face challenges alongside you, when they support the relationship during tough times, it demonstrates profound commitment. They are choosing the bond over the fear that usually compels retreat. Every difficult moment navigated together strengthens trust, deepens intimacy, and reinforces that the love they feel is not superficial. It is resilient and enduring. Another subtle but powerful sign is their humor and playfulness in connection. Avoidants can sometimes use humor as a shield, yet when they engage in lighthearted play or shared laughter with the intent to connect, it's love showing itself in its most human form. This playfulness is not trivial. It's a way of saying, I enjoy being with you. I feel safe enough to share joy. The willingness to lower their guard, even momentarily, is a strong signal that the emotional bond matters deeply to them. Avoidants also demonstrate love through patience with your growth. They respect independence, but when they support your evolution, your personal, professional, or emotional development, it's proof of attachment and care. They may offer encouragement quietly, listen without judgment, or step back to give you space when needed. This patience is not passive, it's active support, a recognition that your journey matters to them, and a demonstration of love that is both respectful and sustaining. Sacrifice and compromise continue to reveal themselves in tangible ways. Avoidants are not naturally inclined to bend for others, yet love motivates them to do so. They may adjust routines, tolerate discomfort, or meet you halfway on difficult issues, all choices that reflect intentional commitment. Each sacrifice, no matter how small, is a deliberate act that signals your happiness, your comfort, and the health of the relationship take priority over their natural inclination to protect personal boundaries. Consistency in long-term engagement is also key. Avoidants may struggle with immediate emotional expression, but when they sustain attention, presence, and connection over months or years, it's a profound sign of love. They may not verbalize it constantly, but their consistent investment speaks volumes. By showing up, by maintaining effort, by choosing connection over retreat repeatedly, they reveal that their heart is fully engaged, even if their words remain measured. Finally, love is evident in the subtle affirmation of your worth. Avoidants often shy away from overt praise or emotional displays, yet when they affirm you through acknowledgement of your achievements, quiet encouragement, or respect for your choices, they are signaling deep appreciation. This form of love is quiet but enduring. It doesn't scream for attention. It quietly affirms your importance in their world and signals that the connection they share with you is cherished and intentional. The culmination of all these signs, vulnerability, patience, sacrifice, attention, presence, humor, compromise, and quiet affirmation, creates a mosaic of avoidant love that is profoundly real and transformative. Unlike more demonstrative forms of love, it doesn't demand constant validation, but it rewards patience, attentiveness, and understanding. Those who can read it, respect it, and reciprocate it find a love that is resilient, deeply meaningful, and often life-changing. When you start to notice these patterns, you begin to understand the depth of their heart. You see that the love of an avoidant is not a fleeting emotion, it's a deliberate, conscious choice. Each action, each moment of connection, each act of vulnerability is evidence that they are fully invested, even if the road to understanding is slower, quieter, or more complex than expected. Avoidant love is not for the impatient, but for those willing to see, to wait, and to engage with intention. And in recognizing this love, a shift occurs. You begin to appreciate the significance of each gesture, the courage behind each vulnerable disclosure, the meaning embedded in small acts of attentiveness. You no longer demand grand declarations. You learn to interpret love in subtle patterns, in consistent presence, in deliberate actions. This understanding transforms your relationship, deepening connection, trust, and intimacy in ways that are profound, lasting, and emotionally enriching. So, if you've been wondering whether the avoidant in your life truly loves you, look beyond surface behaviors. Observe consistency, vulnerability, compromise, presence, attention to your needs, and the subtle ways they choose to remain close. Notice patience, humor, sacrifice, encouragement, and protection. Avoidants rarely do these things lightly. When they do, it is a signal of love that is intentional, authentic, and enduring. Love that is rare, deeply meaningful, and unforgettable. Ultimately, the love of an avoidant is a quiet revolution. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand validation, and it doesn't conform to conventional expectations, but it is transformative. It challenges you to see connection beyond words, to value depth over flash, and to recognize that genuine love often speaks in the language of subtle, deliberate, and consistent acts. And when you understand this, you begin to witness a love that is steadfast, patient, and deeply profoundly real.